So let's have a look at some of the exercises for this week. Now they look like this, and these are exercises that are basically focused on using formulas and using subqueries and grouping functionality. So we'll just work our way through them, and I'll start from the top. So display the lowest salary earned by someone in Department 3. Okay, so we're going to start a new query. So I'm in Access, so I click on Create, Query Design, and of course we're doing all our work in SQL. So I just tap through the interface to look like that. Now, we want all the people, we want the lowest salary by someone who works in Department 3. Now, I'm going to use select and from and where. I always write this down. I'm not too sure whether I'm going to be using where or which parts of this will actually be used in the final solution. But I always start with select from where, just that as a starting point. And I think, okay, what table or tables am I interested in? And in this instance, we're going to be working with the EMP table. Now it says display the lowest salary. Now lowest salary means we're going to use a function, and the function that we're going to use is min, and we're going to run that function over the cell column like that. Now if I just take out the where clause temporarily and run that now, what that does is that shows us the minimum salary for the EMP column, which you can see here. And obviously you can see that's 18,000. But of course this question is actually asking us for a little more than that. So if I go back into the SQL, it actually says, so if I bring it up again, it says display the lowest salary earned by someone in Department 3. So in this question we are going to need a where clause, and we're specifically looking for people in Department 3. Now there is a column called department number. What we want to do is we want to test on that column just like that. So we will find the rows where the department number is 3, and then we will run that function over those particular rows, over the sal column. So show me the minimum salary from that table where department number is equal to 3, and if we run that, we can then see our result set, which is 19,500. So let's go back to the SQL. Now the second one says find the average admin salary. So let's just reset this query like this. Now we know we're going to be working on the EMP table with all of these, so I'll just leave from EMP there. So find the average salary. So again, we know we're going to be using a function. We know it's going to be the average function, and we think about what particular piece of data are we running the average function over. We know it's going to be the salary field. So in here we type sal like that, and there's a little bit extra in here because it says find the average admin salary. So we're specifically looking for people who are administrators. Now that information is in this column called job. So what we really need to do is we need to test on that column to see if we can show just the people who are in administration. So we're going to go job equals admin. Now of course, because admin is a text field, it's made up of characters, we have to wrap it up in quotes. If it was a number, then like in the previous example, we could just write that number down. In the previous one, we just wrote department number equals 3. That's a number. If it's a number, we can just explicitly write it down like that, literally just write it. But if it's a string or a character field, then we have to wrap them up in quotes like this. So if I run that now, and we get 2375. So let's go back. So I'll just blank that again. Let's have a look at number 3. Find the minimum and maximum salaries for each job. Now, here we're going to use two functions, and there's no reason why you can't do that. You know, some of the examples that we've been looking at so far have actually entailed just using a single function. like average or min or max, whatever. But here it says the minimum and the maximum salaries for each job. Now, the minimum salary is obviously going to be min sal, and the max salary is going to be max sal, like that, from emp. So if we start off looking at it like that, and if we run that, then we're just going to find the minimum and the maximum salaries. But what that's done is that's shown us the information for all the jobs combined. So we can see the minimum salary for this series of people is 18,000 and the maximum salary for all these people is 60,000. But this is actually asking us for a little bit more information than that. So if we go back, it says for each job. Now, the moment that we start to think about that, that means we know that there are administrators and salespeople, managers, and what we really want is we want the minimum and the maximum for those particular roles. So, what we need to do is we need to group information together. And what we're going to do is we're going to group by one of the fields, and if we go back to the emp table, it makes sense that what we really want to do for each job is we want to sort of collapse group on that job column. So in other words, we want the minimum salary and the maximum salary for the administrators, for the salespeople, the managers, etc., like that. So if we go back in, I can go group by job, just like that, and run that. So if we go back into the view mode, and there we are, we can see the current minimum and maximum salaries for each job type. But it's not quite good enough because, of course, what we can't determine is which job each of these figures actually corresponds to. So that's why when you're doing grouping over a particular category of something or other, you almost always tend to put it on the top line as well. And what that will enable us to do is it will actually enable us to see what values those functions actually are applied to. So simply, you will often put the column that you're grouping by actually into the select clause. So I've got job here, so I'll put job at the top as well. Now if we run that, hopefully it's a little bit clearer. There, that's much clearer. Now we can actually see the administrators, the analysts, the managers, the presidents, and we can see the minimum salary and the maximum salary for each of those. Now, of course, expression 1001 and 1002, that's not very nice. So you could, we could put an as in here. We could go as minimum sal, and we could put as maximum sal in here, something like that, just to make it a little bit clearer about what's going on. If I widen the columns, you can see where we are. Just like that.